as you're all no doubt aware, I don't really engage in gacha tribalism anymore. I think if you like Genshin Impact, go ahead and play Genshin Impact. If you like Wuthering Waves, go ahead and play Wuthering Waves. If you like Arknights Enfield, go ahead and play Arknights Enfield. It really doesn't matter. The opinions of other people shouldn't matter. However, there are people, these people in specific, these absolute numbnut failures as human beings that will not stop trying to destroy Wuthering Waves. But at the same time, all they're doing is destroying their own reputation online. These people have been creating smear campaigns against Wuai, against Kudo Games, against numerous other competitors. I'm not going to name communities here, but they have been creating smear campaigns. They've been trying to hinder the success of other gacha games into space. Why? To prop up their own game, because they believe that their game is superior, that their game is the best game, and that no other game can come even close to the pristine quality and perfection that their game is. This right here is the tweet that has been circulating. 1.3 million views. 1.3 million. And coincidentally, they also happen to have been community noted. Kudo Games lose publishing rights for Wuthering Waves China to Tencent. 3.1 not doing as well as they promised, it seems. 3.1 isn't doing as well. Interestingly enough, Solon, the CEO of Kudo Games, released an internal message to the Wuthering Waves team. He did this back in the 2.x series as well. Good afternoon, everyone. The festive season is approaching. Now, on the important day when IMETH goes online, I must take this opportunity to share some good news with all of you. The performance of version 3.1, which everyone has been working hard to prepare for day and night, has surpassed version 2.4, surpassed our own in the past, and reached a record high. I mean, sure. Yeah. 3.1's not doing as well as they promised. 3.1 is the most popular the game has ever been. But sure, let's push this agenda that the game isn't doing very well. Sure. So this is the tweet. This is the image. Wuthering Waves owned by Kudo Games, and then in parentheses, Tencent. We all know that Tencent owns, I think it's 51% of the total shares in Kudo Games. They own the majority, but like with a lot of games that Tencent technically owns the majority shares in, they don't have any influence over the game. They in a lot of cases don't even develop or publish the games. They just purchase shares. And that's pretty much it. They provide, if necessary, funding for the studio. And then the studio just does what they want. There are numerous games that are under Tencent that Tencent have a majority share in that are all doing incredibly well, that have absolutely no contact with Tencent or provide Tencent with no option to even touch the creative process in any capacity. And you can tell with the 1.3 million views this has obtained and the 1,800 likes only, the vast majority of people here are calling bullshit. Now, as I noted, they did get community noted here. The screenshot is from a Chinese app store, and the Tencent is commonly seen in apps and games that Tencent owns or is a part of. So this is that Tencent owns a majority shares of, which makes sense. That does not mean that Kudo has lost publishing rights. That just means that Tencent now they've had a majority share in Wuthering Waves for well over a year now. Additionally, Wuthering Waves is performing extremely well, reaching #1 in the US Steam bestsellers and #1 in Japan. There were 2 links here provided as context. Thank you, Elon and the X team, as easy as one click. The post that whoever that is alleges that Kudo Games loses publishing rights for Wuthering Waves China to Tencent based on a screenshot from the Chinese App Store showing the developers Kudo Games Tencent. This Tencent notation is standard for apps from Tencent-owned or majority-controlled developers in Chinese app stores like the App Store China and sites like AppMagic. It simply reflects Tencent ownership, not a handover of publishing rights. This right here is mass misinformation. This is absolute slander to push whatever absolute brain dead agenda is going on here. Yo, I don't mean to interrupt the video, but I need to take a moment here to thank all my incredible patrons over on Patreon whose support continues to allow for me to do regular videos like this every single day on this channel. Thank y'all so much, including our YouTube channel members. You guys mean the world to me. So do you guys as viewers as well. Now, without further ado, let's continue. Tencent acquired 51.4% controlling stake in Kudo Games Self, the developer, in November/December of 2024 by buying shares from Hero Entertainment, making Tencent the sole external shareholder. Kudo was allowed to keep operational independence similar to how Riot Games does League of Legends. Once again, as I noted, they purchased a controlling stake, the majority shares in a company, and then give the company free reign, especially if the company is doing well. Evidently, the game is doing incredibly well. It is the best it has ever been. People are praising it all across the board. Content creators, players, rejoicing and being enthralled in what 3.1 has been. But this right here is further evidence. The fact that Kudo, much like the League of Legends devs Riot, sure, Tencent has a majority controlling stake in, but continue to develop entirely independently of Tencent with no outside interference whatsoever. Tencent has actually had this controlling stake since December 2024. That's just several months after Wuthering Waves launch. This is not a new thing. They did not lose publishing rights. Tencent has had the same amount of control of Wuthering Waves for well over a year now, almost a year and a half. This is not new. The second link here goes on to... Oh, it's me. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's my tweet. Wuthering Waves hit the #1 best seller on the Steam store for Wuthering Waves 3.1. It did incredibly. It went up 39 positions. This is the first time it has ever been this high. And I mean, it makes sense. The game is fucking awesome, right? I mean, that's actually hilarious that my tweet was actually used here in a community note. But let's see. Okay, Shu Crow pointing out that he got community noted. LOL. Coney VT showing he's spreading misinformation. Astis Estis once again asking for a source. Sure, totally not doing well. Wuthering Waves hitting the #1 in the Play Store. There's no official information confirming this. Yes, isn't this over a year-old news? Yes. This guy's just trying to stir up drama. Like right now, the hype for Wuthering Waves is at an all-time high. It is at its peak due to iMyth, due to 3.1. So people, haters, can't just sit there and go, oh, you know what? They did good. Cool. Congratulations. They deserve this win. The patch was great. People love it. No, what they have to do is they have to attempt to inhibit the growth and success. They have to try to hinder any chance at success the game might have to push their own agenda. They want the game to fail. But at the end of the day, the game is doing even better than ever. All they're doing here is bringing more exposure and attention to the game. That's it. And then more people continue to cover it. More people continue to point out the inaccuracies in their claims and in their statements and in their arguments. And then more people, more communities ultimately end up looking like haters. While Wuthering Waves continues to look better and better, continues to climb and continues to grow. This is a hilariously poor attempt at attempting to ruin or hinder or damage the hype of 3.1. On the contrary, all this has done is show that there are some people out there that are a little bit special. And maybe, just maybe, they need to spend a little bit less time hating on something that is entirely out of their control, that they have absolutely no influence over, and that is going to continue growing and succeeding in ways that will continue to leave them seething. Also, for any of you interested, at some point next week, I am going to be doing a Wuthering Waves 3.1 podcast. I'm bringing on about 6 or 7 different content creators to discuss the patch, what they thought of it, where they think it's going, Going to be completely no drama. I hope to see you all there. I'll officially announce it on my Twitter, in our Twitter community, the Gacha Hub, at some point in the next few days, once I've completely outlined who is going to be participating. But this could be a lot of fun. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment, so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.